How did Alexander the Great die? The man who conquered Persia, marched all the way to India, and never lost a single battle. Well, no one actually knows how. It's actually one of history's biggest mysteries. However, there are theories ranging from disease to poison, so let's explain this. First, the idea that Alexander died from disease. According to ancient accounts, after a night of heavy drinking in Babylon, he suddenly fell ill. Within days, he was burning with a fever, struggling to move, and eventually lost his ability to speak. Many historians think he may have caught malaria or typhoid fever, both common in Mesopotamia at the time, which meant it wasn't the battles or the harsh weather, but a lonely mosquito that took down Alexander, pointing to the fevers and weaknesses that Alexander had that dragged on for days. So while it may not sound as dramatic as poisoning, the idea that Alexander died from disease actually makes a lot of sense, considering at the time when medicine was nowhere near as good as it was today. But let's move on to the next theory, which is poison. Which, after all, if you're one of the most powerful men in the world, surrounded by rivals and people wanting your position, it's not hard to imagine someone slipping poison into your wine cup. Now, some ancient writers claim that Alexander was poisoned by political enemies that wanted to grab power before he named an heir. But the problem with this idea is that poison usually works very quickly, and Alexander's illness stretched on for nearly 2 weeks. Now, unless someone had access to a sort of slow burn poison, it does not sound likely. Now, there is speculation that his own generals might have been involved, since many of them had everything to gain from his death. Now, another interesting theory about Alexander's death is that normally kings got buried pretty quickly, but not Alexander. See, his corpse supposedly didn't decompose for days, which many of his followers saw as a sign that he was more than human, that he was a god. But more modern interpretations of this said that this may have been due to the fact that Alexander was under a sort of paralytic coma for days, meaning he was still alive when they pronounced him dead. And this could mean that another way he might have died is that while being in this coma, he starved to death due to not being able to eat or drink. What a way to go out. Another thing is that once he died, his dead body went on an adventure. See, originally he was meant to be taken back to Macedonia, but instead his body was hijacked and rerouted to Egypt by Ptolemy, one of his top generals. In Egypt, Alexander was laid to rest in Alexandria, where his tomb sort of became a tourist attraction, where Julius Caesar and Augustus reportedly visited it. Unfortunately, the tomb later disappeared from sources, and to this day no one knows exactly where Alexander's body ended up, which means that there has been no investigation to help decide what exactly he died from. And so, in the end, his death remains one of history's greatest mysteries. And whether you prefer the theory of a mosquito, a disease, a poison, or just him starving to death, Alexander the Great's death will forever be debated upon. And so, if you enjoyed this video, then leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.